Welcome to Daily Review, your daily dose of literary exploration. We dive into books that spark curiosity and ignite growth. While our passion often leads us to nonfiction reads that empower and improve your life, no book is off limits. From gripping thrillers to insightful memoirs and compelling fiction to historical accounts, we're here to share and discuss all the interesting reads we discover. Tune in for your next great book idea. Have you ever stopped to wonder why some leaders and some organizations just have this incredible ability to inspire people? Think about Apple or Martin Luther King Jr. They command this amazing loyalty, while other companies, even with all the money and talent in the world, just don't. Well, it turns out there's a hidden pattern behind it all. And in this explainer, we're going to pull back the curtain and show you exactly what it is.
All right, so our story starts way back in the early 1900s. There was this huge, intense race captivating the entire world, the race to be the first to achieve powered manned flight. Everyone was watching.
In one corner, you had Samuel Pierpont Langley. This guy had everything going for him. A massive $50,000 grant from the government, a top job at the Smithsonian, a whole team stacked with the best minds of the day, and the press followed his every move. Success looked like a sure thing. And then, way over in Dayton, Ohio, you had the Wright brothers. They were funding their dream with the profits from a small bicycle shop. No fancy connections, no government money, and not a single college degree on their team.
So you have the heavyweight and the underdog. And on December 17, 1903, against all logic, the Wright brothers took flight. Langley, with all his advantages, failed. And it wasn't just a fluke. Both teams were smart. Both were motivated. So what was the real difference maker here?
It all boils down to this one simple thing. The Wright brothers started with why. See, Langley was chasing a result. He wanted to be rich and famous. But the Wright brothers, they were driven by a belief, a purpose. They were absolutely convinced that if they could figure out this flying machine thing, it would change the course of the world forever. That was their why, and it was their starting point for everything.
And that idea leads us to this really elegant but powerful framework. It explains how all great, inspiring leaders think and how they communicate. It's called the Golden Circle.
The Golden Circle is basically a blueprint for how inspiration works. It shows us that there's this predictable, naturally occurring pattern that explains why we do the things we do. And the most influential leaders, well, they use it in a way that's the complete opposite of how almost everyone else operates.
So let's break it down. On the outside of the circle, you have the what. This is the easy one. Every single organization on the planet knows what they do. This is their product, their service. It's the most obvious thing.
Okay, now we move one layer in to the how. Some companies know how they do what they do. This is their secret sauce, their unique selling proposition, their proprietary process, all the stuff they claim makes them special or better than the competition. But here, at the very core of the circle, is the why. And it's shocking how few people or organizations can clearly tell you why they do what they do. And I'm not talking about making money. That's just a result. Your why is your purpose, your cause, your core belief. It's the reason you get out of bed in the morning, the very reason your company even exists.
And this is the most critical piece of the puzzle. Most companies communicate from the outside in. They start with their what, but the truly inspiring ones, they do the exact opposite. They start from the inside out. Apple doesn't just sell you a computer. They sell you their why, their belief in challenging the status quo. Their products are just the proof of that belief. And that is why people will literally camp out on the sidewalk to buy them.
Now, what's really fascinating here is that this isn't just some nice, fluffy theory. The power of the Golden Circle is actually hardwired into the biology of the human brain. So if you look at a cross-section of the brain, it's almost a perfect mirror of the Golden Circle. The what, the outside ring, corresponds to our neocortex. That's our newest, rational, analytical brain. But the inside rings, the how and the why, they map directly onto our limbic brain, the much older, more powerful part that drives all our feelings and behavior.
And here's why that is a really big deal. Our neocortex is great with facts and figures, but it doesn't actually drive our actions. The limbic brain, on the other hand, is the source of all our decisions. It's where feelings like trust and loyalty live. The only catch, the limbic brain has no capacity for language. This is where gut feelings come from. It's not your stomach. It's a feeling you get about a decision you can't quite put into words. So when you communicate from the why, You're literally talking directly to the decision maker. So this leaves us with two very different ways to get people to act. You can try to manipulate them, or you can inspire them. And trust me, the long-term outcome is completely different.
We see manipulations everywhere. Price drops, 2-for-1 promotions, using fear, aspirational messages. We know the playbook. And hey, they work. They can absolutely drive a sale. But they're always a short-term fix. They don't build trust, they don't build loyalty, they just build transactions.
And it's so important to get the difference here. Repeat business is just when someone keeps buying from you, maybe because you're the cheapest or most convenient. Loyalty is when someone is willing to turn down a better price or even a better product just to keep doing business with you. Loyalty is an emotion. It's a real human connection, and you can only get that through inspiration.
Okay, so how do you put this into practice? How do you make sure that what you're doing actually lines up with what you believe? Well, there's this great little metaphor to help. It's called the celery test.
Imagine your why is simple: to only do things that are healthy. Now you go to a dinner party and get all this well-meaning advice for your next shopping trip. Oh, you gotta buy M&Ms. Get Oreos. You need rice milk. Don't forget the celery. If you don't filter this, your shopping cart is a mess, right? It's expensive and no one has a clue what you stand for. But if you run every single piece of advice through your why, the decision becomes incredibly simple. You only buy the celery and the rice milk. All of a sudden, your actions become authentic, your decisions get easier, and you start to attract other people who also believe in being healthy.
And this all leads to the biggest lesson of starting with why. It completely reframes who you're actually competing against. And this one last story just brings it all home perfectly.
So let me tell you about Ben Coleman. He was a high school cross-country runner who has cerebral palsy. Because of his condition, every race he starts in last place, and every race he finishes in last place. He often falls down dozens of times along the course.
But then something amazing happens. After every other runner has already finished the race, they don't go home. They all turn around, they run back, and they join Ben. They run alongside him, cheering him on all the way to the finish line. Why? It's because Ben isn't competing against them. He's only competing against himself. And when you compete against yourself, everyone wants to help you. And that, right there, is the real power of having a clear why. When you compete against yourself, when your only goal is to be better today than you were yesterday, you inspire everyone around you. It stops being about beating other people and starts being about improving yourself. So, I'll just leave you with this one thought. Who are you really competing against?
Thank you so much for tuning into Daily Review. We truly appreciate you joining us for your daily dose of literary exploration. Your support means the world to us and helps us continue to share these amazing books with you. If you're enjoying what you hear, please consider taking a moment to subscribe, rate, like, and comment on any of the platforms you're listening from. This really helps support our channel and allows us to get better and bring you even more great content. If today's review sparked your interest and you're ready to dive into a copy of the book, please consider using the link in our description to make your purchase. Not only does it make it easy for you to get your hands on the book, but it also directly supports our channel and the author, allowing us to keep bringing you more great content. Thanks again for being a part of the Daily Review community.